And welcome everybody to the Daily Space Weather. I'm your host Dan, aka smAsho. We're starting things out by looking at the view from Stereo A at the coronal mass ejection that I forecasted yesterday. You can see it's just kicking off as I make the video, and there is a portion of it that could entirely be Earth facing. We'll have to keep an eye on it throughout the day. And when I say eye on, the pun is intentional. You can see there is a dense bit of it there. We're not exactly sure what kind of trajectory that'll take yet. We have no idea, and you will not be able to see that yet on the LASCO C2 or C3 because it's not released yet. Anyway, here's a view of the sun in 193 angstroms. Coronal holes right in the Earth-facing zone. We see very low solar wind speed and activity in general. Some filamentary behavior around the North Pole crown region. And the South Pole coronal hole is looking large and in charge, and indeed it is. By the way, we are streaming live to Twitch, and let's just take a moment to talk about funding and YouTube and playlists, etc. So, we are currently at 1.62 thousand subscribers, and I'm sure many of you have seen ads on our videos. If you think YouTube pays us for this, we make about 12 cents per hour. And smAsho staff gets about 25% of that. So that's almost entirely funded by our patrons. Please visit the links, as well as pressing like and subscribe, and of course, share on your social media if you enjoy the content. Let's talk about our mission. Well, the mission is to assist, study, and report on the ongoing formation of a unified theory of physics. If you want to visit the website, it's smashomash.com/forum/mission. Number 2 is to raise the awareness of the general public of the relationship between space weather and Earth effects. All your weather comes from space. To connect and consult with media organizations to multiply our reach. Do you see the conundrum here? To demonstrate cutting-edge proof-of-concept solutions to problems, to publish scientific papers in a multidisciplinary manner, which we need a lot more funding for, to assist mankind by advancing the study of predictive phenomenon in order to optimize value. In other words, we endeavor to understand the physics in order to understand the predictive phenomenon and do things like optimize value and reduce risk and liability and save lives and resources and adapt no matter what the adversity is. And lastly, to not be ossified in our beliefs, like some people who think the universe is electric and are more washed up than the interior of a laundromat. Let's get back to solar data. Here it is from Helios, helioviewer.org. And we don't see any organized magnetic fields. Here's the view in 304 angstroms. And the location of that filament is probably somewhere right around here as far as I can tell. But it's very difficult to look at a 2D object and see a 3-dimensional happening. So KP index has come off of its lows of 0 late last night, and it's now down to 1. We see some Noctilucent Clouds over London. If you want to check them out, head to spaceweather.com. Noctilucent Clouds over London, ultra-high altitude clouds. Next, looking at the 10.7 centimeter radial flux to see that it is at 68 solar flux units, basically solar minimum conditions. And we see a very weak solar wind as we saw yesterday, although not quite as weak as yesterday. Pretty close, though. It went all the way down to 280 kilometers a second. A couple little brief magnetic connections there, perhaps with that coronal hole. And that could be something that could happen at any moment, folks. And we do occasionally see things happening right as coronal mass ejections release. And that is not a forecast of anything. However, the current phi angle is at 325 degrees, and the current solar wind density is at 11.23 protons per cubic centimeter, a bit of an uptick from yesterday. Let's bring up one tab that I forgot to bring up here. It's the GOES proton flux. I apologize for that. Anyway, there's the GOES magnetometer. And as you can see, the proton flux is flatlined. GOES magnetometer showing fairly smooth transitions here. And for you new viewers out there, the N's and M's mean midnight and noon. local time for the GOES 16. I don't know what's going on with the GOES 15, but it hasn't been sending data for months. Next, looking at the GONG 2 data here. This is the magnetic environment of the heliosphere, the line of sight field plot, and you can see the B field here in blue, north solar polar field in green, south solar polar field in red. Not a lot happening there, and we are solidly in the South Pole current sheet. And we expect to stay there as we don't see any significant activity convincing us anything otherwise would happen. Next, the Geospace Magnetosphere Movie. That's 4 hours of data. And please excuse me while I vanish. And we'll let that play through before we show you the Geospace Magnetosphere Movie ground perturbations. All courtesy University of Michigan. So you see that weak solar wind there, not too surprising. Some density, but very low velocity. And here we're looking at ground magnetic perturbations, and we don't see many. Now we've decided to stop broadcasting from the SMASH bunker to keep it as pristine as possible. And we're back in the standard smAsho studio. And by the way, thanks everybody who likes to view the videos live, such as Be Stoic, and thanks for leaving a comment, Be Stoic. Yes, we did indeed get stereo A. It's totally been covered. Next, looking at the relativistic electrons over the past year, to see them utterly flatlined here over the past several weeks, actually a couple of months. And there's the 3-day environment for electron flux. And it's come off of the lows a little bit here. When you can see this flatlined at the bottom like this, that's so low it's hard to measure by the GOES 16. And if you're wondering where that measurement takes place, it takes place at the ionosphere layer. The goal is to measure the electron flux at the F2 layer. So I don't know if that helps you in terms of understanding what this is. This is sort of the lowest Van Allen belt, the one in between the ionosphere and the mesosphere. Next, looking at the total electron content forecast here, we're looking at the entire air column, all the way up to where you'd have a thing like a GPS satellite. And we're seeing some anomalies once again over the Caribbean, here where it's being charged up at nighttime, all the way over to Baja California and so on. Right around that area there you can see a large electron blob there. And this gives you some indication when your GPS will show errors. And by the way, I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but I've shown some pretty big errors in GPSs where I've done bike rides with an average speed of 800 miles per hour. So if you'd like to hire me for your cycling team, I'm just getting back into racing this Saturday. Drop me a line. Next, looking at just the ionosphere. This is 6 hours of data of just the ionosphere layer. And it's very, very discharged at nighttime there. And quite wobbly. It's sort of all over the place. It's even a little discharge in the daytime. It's really all over the place, folks. And let's see, there's the latest image at 8:45. It's looking anomalous on the daytime and nighttime side. So it's wobbly, to say the least. Next, looking at the star charts here on in-the-sky.org to see Venus having just risen, being chased by the sun. Well, that's not the sun yet. Anyway, Venus is getting a little higher in the sky here. The third brightest object. If you've got a low horizon and you're up before sunrise, you should be able to check that out. And you should also be able to see Mars and Jupiter up there. I believe Saturn as well. And then Mercury trailing the sun. And so on. Here's where stuff is in the solar system. And talk about a planetary pileup. We've got nearly all the planets. I mean, all the planets are on one side of the sun, but then you've got practically all the planets right here besides Uranus and Neptune. You know the distinction between Uranus and a hole in the ground by watching our daily space weather videos. Next, we're looking at earthquakes, and we see quite a lot. So there's lots of stuff to cover today. We're going to try to keep this as short as possible. It's our summer hours. Here's a deep quake in western South America. It's a 4.1 magnitude at just over 130 kilometers depth. And we're just scrolling up the list here, scrolling up the list. There's one by Easter Island. Actually, I think it's two. And we'll get back to that if it appears on the list again. Here's one near Petrolia, California. And please explain to me how this can be a thing. Notice how that is in the ocean. What was the depth? 300 meters above sea level. How in the heck do we have an earthquake above the ocean? Is that some kind of a sonic boom or something? I don't get it. It's weird. Real weird. And let's get back on the list here. Here's a deep quake at Timor-Leste, whatever that is, somewhere by Indonesia. Now there's a 4.6 at Lone Pine, California, and some aftershocks it looks like. So it looks like nothing over a 6 magnitude over the past 24 hours. I would be on alert for more earthquakes if I were you, especially if I were in an earthquake-prone zone. Here's another deep quake in western South America. It's a 4.6 at Argentina at 156.7 kilometers depth. I apologize for this temporary aside. I just had to take a look at what's going on with the chat. Be stoic. You got a big ball of plasma blocking magnetic fields? Not really. Magnetic reconnection causing a sky boom? Yes, sonic boom. Maybe. Basically, particle teleport leaving void. Oh, okay. If you say so. If you say so. All right, and back to the list here. Seeing, let's say that there's the largest quake of the past 24. This happened just recently. It's a 5.9 magnitude at over 100 kilometers depth. Let's hope that's not a foreshock, although it could be. Let's hope that's not a foreshock at Indonesia. So that 5.9 magnitude quake is at over 100 kilometers depth. Let's look at, I agree, volcanodiscovery.com. Volcanodiscovery.com for today's volcano list, which includes Abico, back on the list. Flight level 10,000. Flight level 13,000 at Samaru. Flight level 6,000 at Tokono. Flight level Strombolian activity at Pacaya. At the McKinney Summit Crater. 2 lava flows on the north and south slopes. Sangha exploding. Flight level 20,000 there. Revenador, producing an ash cloud and a flight level of 14,500 feet. And Sabancaya is exploding. Emission of volcanic ash and gas to about 24,000 feet. Please do not attempt to do the Fosbury flop over Sabancaya. Next, looking at windy.com's pressure maps. We're going to let it advance 24 hours into the GFS forecast to show you where pressure cells are expected to be tomorrow around noon my time. Please leave a comment if you're drinking a Mai Tai. And we do have viewers in the southern hemisphere, by the way, folks, and halfway around the world. Anyway, there's where pressure cells are expected to be, and it looks like we've got a significant anticyclone just west of the Azores. And let's move on here, as there's still lots of things to talk about. Here are the jet streams of the Western world. Here are the jet streams of the Eastern world. Here's me learning how to speak English. Check out the extreme meridional flow down here southwest of Australia. We've got due south, due north, 180-degree bends over only a few hundred miles. Them apples is weird apples. All right, next looking at water vapor maps for Africa and Europe. Got to make sure we see those northern places like Reykjavik. Shout out to the Viking viewers. Please leave a comment if you're viewing from a Nordic country. I've got to go on vacation to one of those places one of these days. Here, me still trying to learn how to speak English. It's the water vapor maps for Oceania and the Far East. Lightning maps. We've got strong storms striking central Texas once again as cold air mixes in just west of Fort Worth. Shout out, oh my goodness. Look at the freaking thunderstorm. Yowzers. Now striking Irvin and Louisville also. Let's see if we can figure out where it's going. It's moving east-southeast, folks. And it's taking its time. There's a bit of a blocking front here. A bunch of dry mass of air creating stagnation in the jet stream. And there you can see what's going on there. This dry mass of air is acting like a compression and a blockage, as well as this dry mass of air. Holding all of those systems in place, preventing them from moving very far. Expect those conditions to last quite a while. And yeah, Fort Worth, you're going to get hit. That lightning strike in Irving was a predecessor for that nasty storm to be rearing its ugly head. Let's look closer. Hopefully this one doesn't cause too much damage, but this is the kind of thing that does generate hail, damaging wind, and insane lightning displays. Let's go back to that lightning maps. Check it out. That is an extreme lightning event. And if you're any place around this area, folks, places like Edmond, Oklahoma, Lubbock, Texas, Amarillo, Hot Springs, Midland. If you're in any of those places, go have a look at the sky. You may see things that you weren't expecting to see, like sprites. This is the exact kind of storm that would generate those. Sprites and red elves and green jellyfish and... man, oh man. Anyway, check out lightningmaps.org next time you hear thunder. Saginaw, there's thunder rolling in. And what is up with that? I'm getting no thunder rings, folks. It's bizarre. Perhaps it's overloaded. Okay, there's one. There's a sound wave. Mineral Wells in Weatherford. There's thunder rolling in. By the way, thanks to our patrons, and I don't know if you're aware, again, let me reiterate, we make about 12 cents per hour to make these videos, so please consider helping to fund the channel and increasing the probability that these will remain free and publicly visible on the internet, as the likelihood of that continues to go down and our funding continues to dry up. However, thanks to our patrons, whether you're assistant or associate producers of the content, you're the main source of funding. Thanks to our Subscribe Star or Subscribe Stars, however many there are, and our one-time donors as well. Let's talk about some bonus features. Now, we are on Facebook, and this is like my personal account here. One of two personal accounts. This is the one. If you notice there's two of me on Facebook, it's because this one reached 5,000 friends, and we had to make a second one. Check out this Twitter account. Abby Brown says, update. I just gave my last $10 to a black gentleman and hashtag Chaz. I'm fairly certain that this is the third time he has approached me asking for the $10 fee for my being white. Alternates wearing fake mustache and glasses. How do I handle this without being racist? Now, this is my new official favorite Twitter account, and more on that in a bit. We've also posted this horrifying story, The Lost Boys of Bucks County. Now, this is within bike riding distance of where I live, and this, if you want to have PTS, please watch this nearly 2-hour documentary. And here's a clip, I think. Anyway, it's on the ID channel. It's investigationdiscovery.com. You'll find this all over social media, as this was a big story in July. The main sociopath, some guy named, I won't say his name, the main sociopath just copped to everything and received, I believe, 4 life sentences, and his accomplice received like life without parole or something. So yeah, that story, you'll find that all over the place. If you'd like to be horrified, then have another story about the devaluation of human life. So yeah, I've started following Abby Brown now, as this is my new favorite Twitter. So if you want to follow her over there, I certainly do, because it's fantastic. It's twitter.com/Abby something or other. How did I miss that? I apologize for this temporary aside, folks. Anyway, what the heck is that? What is that account? It's Abby Brown JD. Check it out. This is an amazing Twitter account. Check this out. Let's see here. Willow made jam yesterday, so we took some of it and spread it on all of the handrails in the precinct. If they want to retake the building, they'll have to do it walking upstairs without a firm grip. #chop, #chop forever. Notice, Willow and I have created the following form for comrades to use when calling for change on social media. Blank should blank, or alternatively, unacceptable. Blank needs to blank immediately. Thank you. Okay, retweet by Kamala Harris. Retweets by Sean King. Check this one out. If Karl Marx hadn't been so outspokenly supportive of African Americans in the Mexican community, would T-Rumpers actually be for communism? History shows us the price you pay for being unwaveringly anti-racist. Or maybe unwaveringly incoherent. Kant. Oh, check this one out. Message to comrades currently barricaded in People's Yogurt Collective from James Song. There has been too much violence, too much pain. None here are without sin, but I have an honorable compromise. Just walk away. Leave the yogurt, the toppings, the cups, and the whole compound, and I spare your lives with my generosity. Just walk away. I will give you safe passage in the wasteland. Which I'm not sure if the wasteland refers to the chop or the place outside the chop. Please leave a comment if you've seen a tumbleweed roll past. Just walk away, and there will be an end to the horror. I await your answer. You have 1 full day to decide. #chop. Anyway, thanks, Smash Team, for tuning in to the Daily Space Weather. Please leave a comment if you're spaced out. And thanks for flying American Smashways. Please keep your head and arms inside the Smash plane at all times. Let's look at bonus features. Oops, no sunspots. Oops, no really organized magnetic fields. How about one more image of the local yellow dwarf here? It's 171 angstroms. Will you be able to see the coronal mass ejection happen? Not really. I'm pretty sure it's from this area right here. Maybe you will, I don't know. Good luck. And we might make another video today. We might not. We might make the whole channel private. Who knows? In any case, thanks for watching wherever you viewed it, if you were able to find it, etc. Have a delightful day. Best wishes, and may that solar wind be at your back.